All right, welcome back, everybody. We are hanging out here at the Oracle Paranormal Festival today.
We're at the Oracle.
We're at the Oracle. It's been a great day. We had a lot of great speakers today, a lot of great vendors, and looking forward to our next guest.
Is that from the Never-Ending Story? Was that
What's
the
that?
Oracle?
The Oracle, I think so. Something like that. It wasn't it?
Had to find the Oracle or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, we know where it's at. It's right here. Oh, I got to bring up this.
What are you bringing up? Oh, yeah. Bring that up.
Where we're at.
Yeah. As soon as they're ready.
It's been quite a fun day.
Are you guys ready? Yes. All right. Well, you know him, you love him, Mr. Tony Rathman.
Hello, everyone. And my name's Tony Rathman, and 16 years ago, I did not believe any of this. I didn't believe in ghosts, apparitions, or anything in between. But thanks to my wife back in 2010, Valentine's Day weekend, she said, I want to do something different this year. I said, okay, what do you want to do? She said, I want to go ghost hunting. And I was just like, oh my God, kidding me. I had two choices. I could take her or have her mad at me until next Valentine's Day. I didn't want that, so I did a little research online, found a location in downtown Phoenix that had a reputation for being haunted, booked her for the weekend, figured, okay, I'm done. And then I remembered she was always trying to get me to watch these paranormal shows, and I realized they were using certain equipment. So I did a little more research, figured out what they were using, bought her a night vision camera, digital recorder, and an EMF meter, and said, okay, let's go. We went for the weekend. She had a blast. I played along, asked questions, took photographs, figured, okay, she enjoyed herself. We're done. We'll go home. We'll put this equipment in the closet until it collects enough dust that we either throw it away or sell it. And that'd be the end of it. But that's not what happened. She started reviewing the evidence, and I was particularly drawn to the EVPs because I had even asked questions. I remember saying it was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We were in the basement of this hotel, and a voice came on the recorder when I said, what's your name? And a woman's voice showed up and answered it. That started the 16-year journey of where are these voices coming from? How does this operate? Can we get more than just EVP? And how can this be elevated to a point where it's not falling into the realm of what the majority of spirit communication gets, which is two concerns. One, you're either getting an EVP that you can't clearly hear, the audibility of it is low, and you're not sure what's being said, or two, if it's ITC or instrumental communication, 90% of that equipment uses a radio as its basis. And the complaint is that you're not getting voices from the other side. You're literally hearing stray radio waves. You're picking up a fragment of conversation, and it just happens to appear that maybe it's answering your question. And a lot of times, though, because my wife and I built spirit boxes for 12 years trying to improve them, sometimes it is radio. Spirit boxes do work, but not to the level of what you're about to see today. So what we're going to talk about is Staticom. We created Staticom from an original source called direct radio voice. Direct radio voice was determined, it could be done by a gentleman named Friedrich Jurgensen. Friedrich Jurgensen passed that information on to Konstantin Radava, and Radava taught a gentleman who was best known for it named Marcello Bacci. Marcello Bacci used this method for about 35 years and could get full sentence communication. But here in the US, Frank Sumption invented the spirit box. That's what caught on. That's what TV shows were using. And when anyone heard the term ITC, they immediately thought a spirit box. But again, spirit box suffered from the same radio. You're using a radio and you're saying you're getting voices from the other side. That was really hard to ingest. So what is Staticom? How does it differ? First of all, Staticom is two-way communication. And I'm not talking about like a spirit box where you say how many spirits are here and you may get a number. This is literally two-way communication. How else does it differ? We remove the radio, knowing the concerns and the negative feedback that you're using a radio, you're getting voices, and a radio can easily pick up speech. We took the radio away and we replaced it with a pure broadband white noise generator. White noise contains no vocal data whatsoever. No syllables, no words, no sentences. It does not exist in white noise. It is a closed system. There is no mic. There is no voice-generated AI, no word banks, and it has absolutely no ability to pick up an outside signal. It is steel encased. It is wrapped in military-grade Faraday to reduce or eliminate both electromagnetic interference and signals from radio, satellite through the military-grade EMI. We had the system analyzed by a double PhD in computer science and electrical engineering. He went through the entire system, said, there's nothing in here to produce voice. He said, but do me one favor. He said, your white noise generator is plastic. He said, make sure that's in the case, make sure it's covered by the military grade Faraday. He said, then go find a pole, metal pole, drive it 2.5 feet into the ground and ground your circuit to that pole. If you still have voices after that, I'll be impressed. We did that. Voices remained. Okay. So what is white noise? Simply static. That's white noise. No vocal data whatsoever. It is random, meaning that it randomly generates the different frequencies, but white noise has a spectral frequency of 1. Meaning all sounds are at the same level, not one higher than another. What? So technically, there is no opportunity for voice to be created. So so that was why we removed the radio. The other thing we needed to know was, sorry, I'm losing my complete train of thought. Yeah. So that was the reason why it was so important to us to be able to. I give up.
Yeah. End it from the live stream.
I can't even hear myself think, let alone.
It's very rude.
So you're at white noise, it's shielded. Trying to do this talk and you can't hear this. We also have to help them get finished.
I'm sorry, go ahead and ask your question.
How broad is your white noise? What's the frequency?
20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Every sound the human ear can hear.
20 to 20.
Correct. Correct. So, again, no radio signal, no satellite signal, no walkie-talkie, ham radio, baby monitor, nothing. It is completely shielded. Secondly, no audio transmission, no radio, no nothing. No voice-generated AI, no word banks, pure white noise only. So the question is then is, who are these voices? Where are they coming from? How are they getting there? Well, we originally believed, and I think one of the first clips kind of gives a 30,000-foot overview of this, but we literally believed that they were manipulating the white noise through kinetic energy. But through different tests that we did when we were spectral analyzing that white noise, we realized that in order for them to manipulate the sounds within white noise to form consonant sounds, vowel sounds, words and sentences, the amount of energy it would take to do that would need to be constant. The spectral analysis and energy analysis showed that there was no increase in energy level from the straight white noise to the speech white noise. So kinetic manipulation then could not have been the case because the amount of energy it would have taken to do that would have been immense. It's the difference between creating a face by a sculptor with a rock and a hammer and a chisel to a large boulder, literally chipping away piece by piece. We now believe that this speech is happening through quantum tunneling, which is basically takes a lot less energy, and it's all timing of placement of when the molecules and electrons within white noise fire, and that allows those sounds to be created. It's the difference between a sculptor creating a face out of a giant stone or a group of gnats that are randomly there, have the energy to fly, and all they do is place them to create the same face that was created from chiseling a boulder. So here's a real quick 40,000-foot overview of Staticom, how it works. A lot of it I've already covered, but I think this is worth watching.
Pioneer with 16 years of research on 14 different device iterations realized the fundamental truth. Spirits do not need radio waves. They need raw energy. This realization led to the birth of Staticom 3.0. This is not a spirit box. It is a breakthrough in instrumental transcommunication. Unlike traditional devices that scan radio frequencies, Staticom 3.0 is a closed system, not using radio signals, word banks, or voice-generated AI, and is shielded from radio signals, satellite signals, and electromagnetic interference. This means there is zero chance of a stray broadcast, a commercial, or a music clip being mistaken for a spirit voice. At its core, the system utilizes broadband white noise and scientific principles called kinetic manipulation and stochastic resonance.
Old video, we updated that. It's not kinetic manipulation.
To elevate the signal by providing a high-frequency energy field that acts as a blank canvas, spirits can manipulate that blank canvas, the broadband white noise, at a molecular level to form clear, audible speech. Tony has moved the field away from broken fragments and into the realm of direct voice, real-time, two-way communication that functions like a bridge between worlds. The results are not just clear, they are intelligent. Through Staticom 3.0, we are hearing spirits speak in full, grammatically correct sentences. They are identifying objects in the room and answering complex questions with zero delay. When Tony asked, "How do you hear me speak?" the response was instant. Energy of the mind. This is more than ghost hunting. It is validation. In recent demonstrations, families have heard the unmistakable voices of lost loved ones, providing a level of closure that was once thought impossible. This is no longer a hobby. It is a mission to unlock the secrets of frequency and vibration. The bridge is built. All proceeds go directly to Staticom research. Now, it is time to listen.
So that's a 30,000-foot overview. But again, the important things to remember are this is not a radio. It is pure broadband white noise. There is no vocal data. There is no AI-generated words. So we're going to back up all the way to direct radio voice. This is a response that my wife got trying to reach Marcello Bacci. Now, The one question we always are asked is, well, how do you know who you're speaking to? The fact of the matter is we don't. Could this have been Marcello Bacci? Possibly. Can we prove it? No, we can't. But what we can prove is that she asked a question to pure white noise and got a full sentence answer. Here's that clip.
Marcello, can you see us? Yes. Thank you. Marcello, you started this method. It's working. Can you please try to communicate with us?
Now, this was interesting because A, that was the clearest clip we had in a year of research, but we did get it. Secondly, Marcello Bacci was Italian and he spoke Italian, yet he responded, or the spirit responded to my wife in English. But if you listen to it closely, you can hear that Italian dialect within his voice that says, I'd say glad to meet you. Next clip. So that was DRV. Now we are going to go to, this becomes Staticom. Staticom no longer has a radio. This is pure white noise only. In this particular clip, I asked them to just say my name, say Tony. Well, they didn't say that. They said my full legal name. And I was like, wait a minute, they know who I am. So I wanted to know if they knew who I am. Who am I speaking to? That's what I asked.
Can you say Tony? Did you just say Rath? Yep. So you know who I am. Can I know who you are? Yes, sir. Thank you. Who am I speaking to?
Never gotten that on a spirit box. Asked a question, no mic, no outside influence, first and last name of two people, two different voices, two different accents, the way they speak. Now people always say, well, did you research those names? Well, this was 2.0. 2.0 would last for a question, two questions, maybe three on a good day, but then the voices would disappear. So I didn't get time to ask anything further, like who was president the year you died, or what year did you die, to be able to research this any further. I don't know if the spellings of the names are correct. It's audio only, I guessed. So that wasn't able to be researched further. This clip was absolutely fascinating. So because there's no mic, because we don't broadcast our voice, I'm speaking just like I'm speaking now, but without the mic, I will ask a question, and yet I will get a response through an electronic device with timing, relevance, and intelligence. I wanted to know, because I'm speaking with vocal cords, I'm creating atmospheric pressure within the atmosphere. Another human has ears. That atmospheric pressure vibrates small hairs within the ear. That vibration travels to a liquid center of the ear, which vibrates, which then sends to the brain. The brain says this is speech. I should pay attention. But if they're spirit and they don't have a human body, how are they hearing me? That was my question. Here's the answer.
How do you hear me speak?
Now that's a fascinating answer for a variety of reasons. One, my wife and I did EVP research still doing it today. But half the times when we were out doing EVP work, the answer would show up on the recorder before I even finished asking the question, or sometimes before I even asked the question. This answers that. They don't need my vocals. Only the recorder needed my vocals so that I knew what I asked. They didn't need it to answer. The second thing about the energy of the mind thing is that it also explains how the communication is happening. If we are fractal portions of universal consciousness, and that's under idealism, that's how we believe life works, because it's all mental. Everything you experience, everything you touch, taste, the end result is that it's mentally processed, which means all of life, for that matter, could be just mentation or a whole matrix effect. So if information can be passed between consciousness, us being fractal, universal consciousness, we believe that's how they know what we're asking. They then send that energy back, manipulate the white noise into speech, and it comes out the electronics as the answer. We also believe that's how people with psychic abilities get their information. It's that same transfer of energy. So here's another clip from 2.0. This was just funny because the answer is not only accurate, but they throw in a little humor in here.
How many spirits are with us right now? 300. 300? Did you say 300?
Incredible. Timing, relevance, and intelligence. I asked how many. He answered 300. I was shocked at that. I questioned it. And he clearly said, and you heard the spirit before him go, ask. And he's like, is that the wrong answer? Great response, because I'm the one who asked how many.
It's a cool sentence too, unlike the spirit box. It spits out like just a word, one word.
Right, if you're lucky. And that's the other problem with the spirit box, is that it was developed under the assumption that spirits would rearrange the words within the scanning of radio stations and make it into their own sentences. That does not happen. They do not need RF at all. That's why spirit boxes for us were the most mentally draining piece of equipment on the planet. You heard all the white noise. You heard all the stations that it was scanning through at anywhere from 100 milliseconds to 600 milliseconds. Then you were trying to pick out a voice somewhere in between that wasn't radio. The problem is that every time it hits a radio, white noise is gone. You're locked into that frequency. You're only hearing the radio. They can't speak. It's gone. That's why you get a word or two from a spirit box. We are now moving to Staticom 3. This was our third evolution. The conversation doesn't quit anymore. We've had conversations up to an hour long. They will continue to ask. We will continue to ask. They will continue to answer for as long as the machine is on, or they don't want to speak anymore. This particular clip, actually, we're at Karen's house right there. And people always ask, well, did the spirits give you information about how to create this, how to make it work? This is one small clip where we were trying to dial in a setting. I asked a simple question, up or down, on the dial. Here's the response. I didn't even tell them there were numbers on the dial. But that setting has not moved in 3 years because it was absolutely correct. Next clip. This was the first night Staticom 3 came to life. And so we're not asking any scientific questions. We were so amazed that it was running. I wanted to see what they could answer. That's this clip.
Tony. Spirits, can you hear me? Yes, okay. That was a loud voice that just answered. What's your name? It's a strange name. How many spirits are here with us right now? A lot? A lot, yeah, that's what I thought you said. Because there's so many of you, is that why all the background chatter? You're talking? Do you have any messages for us? Not common from a spirit box. And that's a clip that we took from probably an hour of me asking questions and them answering. So this was the next night, because the first thing I said to Cherie when I got home from work is I need to know whether this still functions. So this is again expanded two-way communication. Well, I can hear you when you whisper, you know that, right? Chris, if you're not familiar with this device is called Staticom. If you heard me say Staticom. That was Tagalog. All right, Spirit, you don't want to say Staticom, let's play another game. What am I holding in my hand? Glasses, thank you. Thank you very much. How about pineapple? Can you say pineapple? Oh, perfect, thank you. How can you say Staticom like that?
It's one word.
It's one word, Staticom. Have you not been able to talk to humans before? If you can hear me, Spirit, say elephant.
Do you know Tony?
If we use this device to help cold cases, will you answer the question? Thank you. That'll help a lot. So that was the birth of 3.0. Just to let you know, for the last 6 months, we have been creating 4.0. Actually, it may run tonight at one of the investigations if what Cherie and I spent till 2 a.m. last night building works appropriately. Okay, so this is just another clip of 3.0. Again, Karen's house, we were just doing testing, but fun clip. No. Let's try it again.
How many of you talking right now, or how many are talking right now?
All the time. She shows up. I don't know who that is. She did? Spirit, you can hear us and understand us, say Rathman.
Karen, did you have a family? Yeah. Are you happy?
Yes, I know. You guys know that you're dead? Do you know you're dead?
What did you do here when you were here, where we are? What did you do? What was your job?
All right, I think there might be one more. Yeah, okay, let me explain this one though. So I was testing that night, Staticom 3, running some additional research tests. My wife showed up in the doorway of my studio and she had a kind of a distraught look on her face and I said, "You okay?" She said, "Not really." I said, "Okay, what's wrong?" Now granted, Staticom's up and running. I'm just talking to her over it. And she said, "Do you remember our friend Lennon?" I said, "Yeah, of course. Why would you even ask me that? We had dinner with him last time we were in the Philippines." And this was a Wednesday night. She said he was shot and killed on Monday, so 2 days prior. And I said, "What?" Staticom spit out his name. So I said to Cherie, "Stop, go get your phone, hit record, and let's just ask some questions." These are straight answers right from Staticom to her phone she's holding. You're going to hear everything we asked and every answer they gave.
Yes, he was shot. Lennon, did you know that you were shot? Do you have a message for your family? To your mom? I saw you how they shot you. Or shoot you. Lennon, hindi ka alam mo kung sinong bumaril sa'yo? Yes, para mabigyan ka ng hustisya. Kilala mo ba kung sinong bumaril sa'yo? Just give me the name, Lennon, so I can help you. Did you know how you were killed? Lennon was shot and killed last Monday.
Good, do you know who did it or not? Yes. Can you give a name, please? Let's start with first name. What's his first name? Christian. Christian a name? Was Christian a first or last name? Okay, first name. You have a last name. Not sure what that last part said. That's why it just stated, can you hear it? That's a first and last name given to somebody that we would have no knowledge of. Do we know it's correct? No. What's the percentage of murders solved in the Philippines, about 0.01% for a variety of reasons. He was a politician, which was twice the reason we didn't push it further. Did he have a publisher named Christian? We don't know. All of Cherie's family, contacts, most of them aren't around anymore or alive. We just left it.
And he's apart from his money.
Oh yeah, he loved money. He had it. He loved to show it off, especially in the Philippines. You can actually probably, I'm not going to go into all that just because it's analytic idealism, and unless it's of personal interest to you, it's kind of boring. But that's how we believe all of this occurs. That's how, in the process of developing 4, we were able to excite white noise to get speech directly from the white noise generator itself, which is now what's pushing us for 4. The speech clarity is better, it is more consistent, it is denser, and the possibilities for what we believe can be pulled from it should even blow away what you just saw. But I guess first run will be tonight. But anyway, questions? No? Yes. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, somebody else. I wasn't.
What are you demodulating? Are you taking the white noise and just, are you amplifying it? Is it signal processing it?
It goes through basically very simple processes like denoising, voice extraction, either amplification or de-amplification, depending on the peak of the sound. It is a combination of hardware and software, and a PC is used, yes. Variations of, yes.
I'm not interested in competing or anything. I'm just electronics background. I'm retired. I'd love to look at your sheet.
That's interesting.
I'm somewhat of a shielding or a shielding expert.
That's great to know. The gentleman, and don't repeat his name because he would only look at hardware. He wanted nothing to do with the voices and being materialistic, physicalist science. He wouldn't touch the voices. But yeah, he was a double PhD in computer science and electrical engineering. And he's the one who said, ground that to a 10-foot pole in the backyard. Now, once we did that, we don't bring the 10-foot pole and, you know, drop it into wherever we're demonstrating it, but we know that it doesn't change them at all. It doesn't. And it doesn't because it's not a signal. It's not electromagnetic interference. There's nothing to ground. We know, and last night, one test we were able to do was that the voice within the white noise, which we believe is through quantum tunneling, occurs directly out of the white noise generator. And we were able to see that voice on meters last night.
The white noise generator on a chip, does it have those parts? What is the white noise generator? Is it just a diode?
No, the one we're using now, I hand built out of a chip. So it's digital. It's a digital representation of white noise.
I actually didn't have a question. I'm just blown away by this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I wish more people shared that. The biggest problem we have, this is one of the hardest projects I've ever done. Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't have a question.
No, he was just saying thank you for. But one of the hardest things of this type of work is that we fight 2 very well-known organizations. One is materialistic science people. And my father, a 46-year physics professor, was one of the toughest. He said, what are you doing? But science is one of them. Now, luckily today, you've got quantum science. Now you've got what they're calling quantum consciousness. And consciousness is now becoming a part of how we believe that, and this is prime demonstration of how that happens. but the other one is religion. Because every post I ever put out, someone's like, stop that, you're talking to demons. Okay, well, if I'm talking to demons and they're telling my wife what to take when she's sick and they're 100% correct, I'm gonna listen. We've had nothing negative happen. We through the communication, and why? Scientists have asked us, are there any residual effects in your house? Temperature changes, unexplained energy left over. No, why? Because we believe consciousness, spirits, entities, whatever word you want to use, is non-local. They're of non-locality. They do not need to be sitting in my living room or my studio to answer through the machine. It's no different from if I went over to the neighbor's house, sat down for an hour, had a cup of coffee. When I got up and left, would I have left heat on the chair? Yeah. Was that detectable? Absolutely. Would I have left hair or skin cells? Could that be detected? Of course. But if we had that cup of coffee for an hour over a video transmission, would I have left any? No, nothing. And that would have been undetectable. No. We believe this is exactly how that operates. Anything else? Yes.
So interactions with the white noise signal, where in the signal wire? Wiring itself?
Explain to me exactly what you're asking.
You're saying that there's some form of interaction with the white noise system. Where is that occurring physically?
In the white noise generator.
In the generator.
We believe they are through quantum tunneling versus, like I was saying, we thought it was kinetic manipulation, but far too much energy is needed on a constant basis to kinetically manipulate every sound coming out of that. So what we believe they're doing is just manipulating when it fires, how hard it fires, and at what rate. And that is what's creating, and then through quantum tunneling, which takes a certain rhythmic sound out of the white noise, which is encased in the energy white noise barrier, and tunnels it through directly into the electronic chain, which then comes out as speech on the other side.
So could you take your white noise generator, replace it with the white noise diode, single broadband diode noise source?
Yes, technically. Great idea for a test. We've tried diodes before, not white noise diodes, but what was the Radivate diode, or I can't remember the name of it. Were we able to get some vocal? We were, but it far below what we're able to get from white noise. And white noise has so many properties in it that makes it the ideal medium. If you had an entire orchestra sitting out here, but they had no sheet music, you wouldn't hear anything. White noise is like that blank sheet music. Once those notes are placed, which is them manipulating those sounds to create consonants, vowels, words, sentences, then it's like handing full sheet music to everyone in the orchestra, and you've got that music. That's how we believe this is occurring. Anything else?
I could ask 50 questions.
Feel free. I have 17 minutes left.
So, your detection, it's not just an audio diode detection. You're processing it with the PC, either at the sound card level or maybe at the digital audio stream level.
Correct, both. And spectral analysis and other tests.
So what leaves your box then is the white noise spectrum, 20 to 20 kilohertz going into the PC.
What goes into the PC is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz.
Yeah.
What comes out of the PC and out of the speaker is only the range of the tones of which they're using to speak.
Right, it's easy to DSP process and just pass the voice pass band if you so choose. But it sounds
Correct.
like most of the electronics are actually in the PC because a wideband noise generator is very simple.
On 3, yes. On 4, no. We had to do upgrades I never even imagined I would do or even try to accomplish. 4 is, the PC is one piece of equipment, although it's got the digital work, various VSTs that do the functions that a record studio would do. But I don't want to say any more than that. But yeah, that's the PC's job.
Have you tried using a hardened shielded PC like a high-end Toshiba Top?
We were offered, and we don't have it yet, and I don't know if we'll get it. But because we believe this is happening quantumly, we had a gentleman say, I'm going to try to get you a quantum computer. Yeah. Because that opens up a realm we've never even touched.
That'll be Staticom 5.
That'll be 5, 6, 10, 20. What? Yeah, you know I'm never going to stop this. As long as I'm breathing, I will continue to research this.
Do you know John Benedict? John T. Benedict.
That sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Angels, the double contouring angels with big wings. That's my brother.
Really?
My brother, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
His name's
John Benedict.
Yeah, it's a familiar name. I just can't place it.
Yeah, he told me about you kids about a year ago.
Really?
Yeah, he met you somewhere, and
We've been all over. We've been Paracons. I don't know how many. Yeah, we were at Phenomenon. We were in Canada.
You ever done medical medicine? No. Okay, that's because that's where he was coming from. Met you guys.
There's so much that can be done there. We also have a very good friend that is being able to do EVP work through animals when they are either sleeping or unconscious, and get intelligent responses that couldn't have come from anywhere else, and only the animal who went through it would have known. We started working with her with Staticom for that same purpose on 3, but the last 6 months it's died because we're building 4 and it just takes up every second I have. But we're going to return to, but oh yeah, horses, dogs. I don't even remember what she's all done. Yeah, people, one of her friends had been suffering, I don't know if it was cancer or what, but he decided to take his own life. And she asked me if I would run Staticom while that was happening to see what messages we could get. And I agreed, but he backed out last minute the next day he was supposed to do it. And then he did it the next day, which I was unavailable, but she got his voice, and we've gotten every language you can imagine. My wife speaks 3 different languages. I speak one of the 3 she speaks, but we've gotten English. We had a gentleman come up in Globe, that live audience. He was watching people ask questions, get responses. They've recognized the voice. They were able to identify. They were able to say, no one else knew that information. There's no way it could have said that. It did. We had a gentleman come up and said, can I ask a question? I said, sure, absolutely, go ahead. Well, he came up, but he asked his question in his Native American language. So we didn't even know what he asked. And she was like, what do we do? I'm like, nothing, just let's see what happens. So he's kind of standing there, and you can tell he's listening, and then all of a sudden I saw his eyes go like this and his jaw dropped. I said, did you get your answer? He said, not only did I get my answer, I got it in my Native American language.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you tried, since human voice is 300 to 3 kilohertz predominantly, have you tried narrowing the wideband
Absolutely.
spectrum just to that segment?
Yeah, the only problem with doing that is anything under 300, although we found the voices come down as low as 80. So we have to be careful on what we limit just below 300. So I try to keep it 100 or lower. I'll sometimes lose the 80, but that takes away the muddy rumble on the bottom end. Anything above 9,000 hertz is high-pitched squeal, but it's also the pronunciation of S, T. It's the core to make those stand out. So if I lower that too much, I get underwater sounding muffled. So yes, we've absolutely done that. We are focusing more in on that for 4.0 because we can clearly communicate with 3. Now we want it so that no one says, I didn't hear that, or I didn't understand what that said. We want it undeniable. The other thing about this is that it's reproducible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I don't care what the time is. I don't care if it's 2 in the afternoon, 4 in the morning, 12 at night. They're there. They are speaking. They are speaking to each other. We can just listen. We don't even have to say anything. We can listen to them talk. But it can be studied by science if they would ever drop their materialistic view and take a look. It can be studied, it can be reproduced, and it can produce what we call POP, or paranormal. Oh shit. It's a reproducible paranormal. I forget what the I don't know how I forgot that. I don't remember.
Whatever.
It's on there somewhere, but don't worry about it.
What about, you said out there that one thing they'll answer, one thing they won't answer is about the future.
Correct. The reason we believe that, and the reason we know that, is because we've asked future questions. Things as simple as, I had a choice of 2 jobs, and I said, spirits, which job should I take? This one or this one? No answer. Absolute silence, crickets. But if I say, what did I do? What did I have for lunch last Saturday? They'll tell me. But we believe it's a universal law that were put here to learn, to grow, and to evolve, and through our free will, make mistakes to learn from. And we do not believe they have the ability to interact with or affect that. And the other reason I know is because we've asked for the winning Powerball numbers 1,000 times. No answer. So, but anything past, Roger one night Googled a bunch of internet history questions and we asked them. We had like an 87% success rate on every single one.
You've also done it with your former partners and they're in a different state, where one held up.
No, they wrote a word on a piece of paper and they said, I wrote a word on a piece of paper, what's the word? We turned around to Staticom and said, what word did he write? All of a sudden they came back. I mean, it was seconds, if that even. Zebra. All of a sudden Chris looks down and goes, holds it up. Sure enough, he wrote zebra. But again, did they have to travel across the country to find out? No. When I said, what word did he write? What's Chris thinking? The exact word he wrote. And that's the connection.
More technical questions.
Good. I love it. I love it.
Have you tried characterizing the frequency response in versus out? In other words, if you're wideband 20 to 20 kilohertz in, you can put in 100 hertz tone, measure the amplitude of the output. Have you done that sweep across the entire spectrum?
Not probably in that specific degree. The reason we don't like to order it or restrict it is because they can literally switch frequency in a sentence from the first word to the second word to the third, or any word in between in the sentence, and it can jump drastically. One sentence can contain anything from 80 to 7,000.
This will just be verifying your hardware has a flat response.
Well, we have testing mechanisms in it now that will tell us exactly where the white noise is at, how the level it's been excited, how what level, what VU, what density it is at, so that we can get it set so that when it hits into the computer interface, it is perfectly set for those words to pop.
What about group delay? Impulse tone in to impulse tone out versus 20 through 20 kilohertz.
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
If you measured that group delay, then what it would sound like would be distortion.
Very true. The clarity, though, that we've been getting, the only distortion I got was due to some how can I say this without giving away too much information? Incompatibility in the way the signal was being processed, and it'll give a jumping, humming, sort of vibrational echo. And
Don't worry about me. I'm an analog guy.
that's awesome though, because most of this outside of the end processing is analog. Well, except for some things I got to show you that I switch, because yeah, I would love that, because
Here's another question. Have you tried, I'm a ham radio operator, have you tried going in with Morse code?
no.
Look at those
I can
eyebrows.
think of a couple old mentors I would love to send a message to.
And see if we get Morse back.
In fact, one of them, before he parted, we agreed, if he ever tries to communicate with me, it would be in Morse code.
So we have that, we've done that sort of thing where if any of us ever.
I mean, we use different sine waves and stuff to try to figure out when we were testing long before DRV. The problem is that Morse code, even if it's live or recorded, we're sending it into a computer that goes nowhere, doesn't transmit, doesn't do anything. So unless my mind is able to reproduce the beeps of what's playing.
But you're hearing it, so your mind would then be translating it, which then would be translated.
Oh, it's possible.
Why wouldn't they be able to do
I
it
would
through
send it on
Staticom?
a sender with a speaker.
No, which is what would come out.
What would come out would have to be a tone or some facsimile of tone. It could even be dispersed, it could be burst of static.
Because that's
But
gonna
you
be.
still, you're hearing it.
No, I understand that. But let's say it's 30 seconds of Morse code.
Right.
When the Morse code ends, Staticom has nothing to produce either a vocal. You took away the white noise media, which we believe is the absolute be-all, end-all of how this speech is being created. Now, could they figure out how to put it into a tone? Yeah, probably.
What if they would respond though, then a vocal?
Well, they wouldn't be able to respond via vocal. Yeah, but I mean, even within the circuitry within a computer, we believe spirits can create tones, and through everything, through everything through, I forgot what I was gonna say. Stochastic resonance to tuner effect to the signal processing. So Morse code might be something they'd be able to produce right through the electronics themselves without needing any additional media. So that's very interesting. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just curious. Are you just wanting to say a statement or ask a question in Morse code and receive an answer through language? Or are you looking for a Morse code answer?
Morse code answer would be what I would seek. And I would call him using his old call sign, which
Okay.
would clearly be recognized.
What?
So can you do something like remove the white noise generator?
No,
instead of-
right now the whole system is based on broadband white noise. What he could do though, is we could run Staticom. He could send his message through another means.
That's what I
We
was.
would hear
A
it.
tone coming out of speaker.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Right, but I'm saying it wouldn't have to interface with Staticom. No difference than people asking questions interface with it. That would work. Well, he could get, white noise has the ability to produce any possible sound.
Right.
Could it produce Morse code response? Absolutely it could.
The speech is far more complex.
Far more complex. Morse code would be super simple for it to do. You're right. Yeah. It would be a great test, one we haven't done. All right. I think I'm out of time. Thank you. Great questions.